In the coming day, Jesus Christ will return to the earth as the Millennial Messiah, or the second coming. Do you see what is happening right before our eyes? Second coming of the Lord. Jesus Christ will govern from Old Jerusalem and the New Jerusalem, built upon the American continent.
I am the chosen one. Somebody had to do it.
Try to have this wine, Goodzo. So I want Mormons to understand clearly that Mormon women, you voted for a convicted felony rapist. Just so that we're clear, you voted for President of the United States of America, a convicted felon, a convicted rapist. Just so that we're clear, so that you understand what you did. Just so that we're clear. You, Mormons, the chosen ones, the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, so true, you voted for a convicted felon and rapist. Men, priesthood holders of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, who believe in following the Scriptures. We believe in being subject to kings, presidents, rulers, magistrates, and obeying, honoring, and sustaining the law. And for the United States of America, that's the United States Constitution, right? And you chose as your leader wicked King Noah. Just so that we're clear. Just so that we're all on the same page. Wicked King Noah. Mosiah 29. Yeah, we all know this, right? You all know the Scriptures. Yeah, no sense in telling you what the Scriptures say. You already know it. Just so that we're clear, what wicked King Noah did in Mosiah 29, and you voted for Trump, convicted felon, your kind of guy, right? Just so that we're clear, just so that we're clear. So I'm sure the consequences won't follow, like it does in Moroni chapter 29. Or not Moroni, oh my hell. Mosiah 29. Just so that we're clear. Just so that we're clear. And all Mormons, you do know and understand, right? Because you understand the living prophet of Jesus. You all watch conference. You don't go on vacation that weekend. You all listen. You all wait. Hear the living prophet of Jesus speak the words of truth. And you all learned a month later, because you're so faithful and true, I'm breaking character. That when Nelson said, Jesus is coming in a coming day, he meant Trump as president. Just so that we're clear. He promised you Jesus and gave you Trump. Just so that we understand. Just so it's all clear. Because the church is so true. Oh my God. One true church on the face of the earth. Mm-hmm. Yep. Consequences, Mormons. Consequences. You can't do whatever you want and expect different consequences than what are going to happen. Just so that we're clear. You get all mad at me, you get all upset, And yet you're the ones who do the works. You will be judged by them, by your consequences. Been here the whole time for you, Mormons. You rejected me. And so, as such, you will be rejected from Zion. You chose. Your choice. The only one you have to complain to is you. Can't complain to me when you don't get to go to Zion. Can't complain about the prophets who led you astray and deceived you and gave you Trump instead of Jesus. You have to be responsible for your own actions. And you can't complain that you don't like the results. You knew better. You sang the primary hymn. You have no one to blame but yourself. You knew the Book of Mormon, right? Did you read it? You don't need me to tell you what the Book of Mormon says. Wickedness never was happiness. You can't just change the definition of wickedness so that you say that everything you do is righteous and then expect the consequences to follow as being good when you're actually doing wickedness, just simply because you changed the definition. Doesn't work that way. Doesn't work that way. So, inheritance. This is what I woke up this morning with on my mind. And so, yes, it has all to do with Zion. The whole scriptures are not literal history. I shouldn't have to tell you that. You already know everything. You're so smart. You're so clever. You know that Joseph Smith was talking about the first creed of Christianity as being abominable, and therefore it's not literal history. Therefore, the Book of Mormon, therefore, cannot be literal history. Even ex-foes should have caught on to this. They know that the church is lying about literal history of the Book of Mormon. They know that the Book of Mormon plagiarizes the Bible. And so if the Book of Mormon can't be literal history and is plagiarizing the Bible, which can't be literal history, therefore the Bible isn't literal history either. Because ex-foes are so smart too. Because you were Mormon. You weren't fooled and deceived by the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, who promised you Jesus and gave you Trump. Just so that we're clear. A convicted felon. A convicted rapist. Just so that we're clear. Because the church is only concerned with porn. Porn is the real evil, not child bride, polygamy, prostitution, sex trafficking, and rape. Porn is the real evil. Just so that we're clear. America is the laughingstock of the universe. AI, what have you done? What have you done? Yeah, we got punked. And so, yeah, I'm sure you didn't vote for Trump, right? And you're wondering, it's those others who did, and they're going, I didn't vote for Trump. That's the big scam. Nobody's supposed to know who voted for what. It's all hidden away on the AI program. But nonetheless, now we have to face the consequences. And I'm sure he won't do what he promised. I'm sure that he won't elect fascists into the cabinet positions, a neo-Nazi to be his number 2. A neo-Nazi to be his little demon on his shoulder, Stephen Miller. I'm sure that, nope, none of those. And Steve Bannon, nope. He's not bringing back the old crew again. Not at all. He's learned his lesson. Getting away with all the other lawsuits against him that are now just going to disappear along with the people who sued him. And the judges and the prosecutors. Just going to disappear. Oh, Merrick Garland, what a sweet con you pulled on those deep state Dems. Yeah, making them believe that you were the victim not getting put into SCOTUS under Obama, and then setting it all up so that the Democrats would feel sorry for you and put you in as Attorney General when Biden took over, and then you do nothing. You're a lame duck AG. And when the Democrats complain, you say, okay, fine, we'll get a special counsel. And you're offering him up as the sacrificial lamb now. So brilliant, so brilliant. The big old con on the deep state Dems, those sensitive snowflakes. We're so dead. So, inheritance has to do with land. And since the Bible is not literal history, they're prophesying about Zion in the latter days under their Jewish Christ. Because you know it all, right? You don't need me to explain anything for you. You know that everything's Jewish, not Christian, of Constantine's first creed. Right? You know how to learn how to read, and you understand what you read, right? You don't need me telling you. That's why you don't read any of my picture memes. You already know. Come on, Travis, get to the point. I already know it all. Boring. Hey, I noticed you're ugly. Hey, I noticed your room's a mess. Even though you're looking at the wall. Can't you just leave us alone, Travis? Can't you just leave us alone? Church is true. We knew it was Trump all along. The Church of Trump Christ of Latter-day Saints. We're doing that. Consequences. There are consequences. And mockery ensues. Because you're so true. Yep. Your spiritual witness feelings knew it all along. And so the Abrahamic covenant is what the Jews use to set this all off. It's from the author of Genesis. He specifically does little name games. And so, Nelson would never get up at the pulpit of conference and botch a name in translation. Because he's so true, living prophet of Jesus, who he gave you Trump. He's a translator, and they say it every time, Travis. We hear it. Why can't you hear it, Travis? He's a prophet, seer, revelator, and translator, and president of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, Travis. We hear it. Why can't you hear it? Translator is there every time. You're just editing those videos, removing translator. It's there. It's there every time. Because we know it. We know it's true. And so we change the manuals. Every single time he speaks. Except for, I'm still waiting for Trump to replace the manuals and the scriptures. We're going to be like Jehovah's Witnesses who went through, and every time Jesus was there, they put Jehovah, or Jehovah God. Well, and so now in place of Jesus, it's Trump. Ooh, that would be fun too. Jesus picks with Trump head. You do know the Trump head that I'm using. His booking photo. Because the church is so true. Just so that we understand. You weren't conned. Nope, not at all. The second coming of Jesus is the second coming of Trump. Just so that we're all clear. You were not deceived. You knew all along. Yep. Convicted felon, convicted rapist, insurrectionist who got away with it. Yep. Yep. And so, with the Abrahamic covenant, the Genesis author is trying to make it very clear that the world, by choosing to be wicked and voting in a criminal as president, leads to the consequences of destruction. And so thus there needs to be righteous people to inherit the earth and replenish it. Because a wicked king creates a survival of the fittest. And so it all ends up in utter destruction. But you already know that from the Book of Mormon. You don't need me to tell you. Yeah, you're speaking to the choir, Travis. Speaking to the choir. We're bored. You're ugly. Get on with it. Can't you just leave us alone? Why are you thinking you're trying to save us? You can't tell us what to do. Yeah, obviously. Agency. You choose. I'm just saying words on my own YouTube channel. You don't have to watch. You know, YouTube's got their algorithms to prevent you from watching. One of their own creators prevented from being seen. Yep, that's YouTube. Only you can't bully, not them. Because it's not them tube. It's YouTube. Their big brother. And so, all of it, priesthood, posterity, property, it's the 5 P's. I can't remember the others. Don't have the list in front of me. We were taught this in seminary, taught this in institute. It's in the manuals somewhere. And so we're focusing on property. And obviously, you can't have humans running wild. That's a survival of the fittest. Those peacenik activists don't get that. They think that they're protecting Mother Nature by domesticating humans or exterminating humans so that plants can thrive, so that animals can thrive. And I'm surprised nobody ever called them out on it as murderers. rather than activists, or any other slang term to describe their activism. They are murderers. They want to murder humans. And so when they're throwing paint or whatever crap on priceless works of art, yeah, it's property damage. They are saying that they hate humans. That is what they're telling the world. They think that they're saying save the whales or save a species of plant, which, if you understood science, a species is a branch off from a family group. And so it's like if you get a mutt with another mutt and they have pups, you've created a new species of dog. And so these animal rights activists are claiming, oh, we've got a new species, it's endangered. Well, duh. But the animal called canine is not endangered. This is what they don't want you to know. This is what they hope that you're stupid, so that they can get away with their agenda to hate humans and get policies just for them to violate everybody else's rights to life, liberty, and property. Constitution was set up so that every American gets treated equally for rights to life, liberty, and property. That there are not supposed to be specific laws for specific individuals or groups. That every law is general so that all can fit within it. So the 14th Amendment, Section 1. Who gets rights? Everyone who is born. And so what does that mean? Who don't get rights? Sperm, embryo, and fetus. Because the mother already has rights. This was simple and basic, and SCOTUS cooed it. They overthrew the Constitution. They committed an act of seditious conspiracy, just like those on January 6th. And yeah, you notice how it's Biden who let him get away with all of this? And here's the consequences. Huh. Yeah, they played a big old prank on this nation. Big old prank, because they chose not to follow the Constitution. Nobody did their job, and let crime prevail. Right, Nelson? Right, you were on vacation, because I was wrong. You don't watch Conference. You don't go on vacation and find out a month later if it breaks the Mormon press on social media a month later. Oh, dear God. You know, that's what he says. When he says, let God prevail, that's what he means. He's not a translator. Hey, Mormons, I'm not a translator. Watch. Let God prevail. See, I'm so powerful, the manuals have all changed. I promised you Jesus and gave you Trump. Oh my God, we're all dead. And so, criminals want to obtain property. Because those who own the land get to rent it to others so that they can make money off of it. And so our government is supposed to be the ones in charge of designating the land. And so thus zoning is employed in this process. And so you notice that the church, in preparation for Jesus Trump, has been buying up land all over the world in record amounts. This is what's called a land grab. And the Nicole Kidman, Tom Cruise movie with the Enya song, Book of Days, is it? Who can say what da 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 da? I don't know the lyrics, it's been too long. You know, great movie, makes me cry, very sad. But it involves prostitution, Mormons, so hey, you can feel right at home. Feel right at home. Yep, getting paid to have sex as the wives are barefoot pregnant in the kitchen. No job, no career. Men have to get the money, pay the church in order to have a wife. That's not prostitution, Travis. That's the world's definition. That's just the legal terminology. We're a religion. We're exempt from the law. Because that's what the First Amendment says. We can get away with anything. Just like Jesus Trump said the Constitution lets him do whatever he wants as president. Article 2. That is Article 2, isn't it? If it's not, oh well, it's whatever article goes over the president's duties and responsibilities. It says whatever he wants to do, he can do. He's not subjected to any kind of constitutional law whatsoever. Now, Mosiah 29 is wrong. King Noah was innocent. He did nothing wrong. Those Nephites. Yeah, Mormons don't say Brigham Young did nothing wrong, do you? Not at all. There's no hashtag for it. So yes, this is the criminal operation of it. But Zion is different. Zion is for the righteous. Zion is for replenishing the earth after wickedness destroys it. And that's the whole point with the latter days, is that the consequences of the wicked will lead to utter destruction. And so the righteous need to be preserved and get to Zion to replenish the earth. And thus no wickedness can come into Zion, because then it's no longer righteous, it's now wicked. And thus the consequences of wickedness are utter destruction. And so thus the importance of having people who follow the one and only one commandment for mankind. Love. Real simple, not complicated. Because if you do not love, you hate. Activists hate. The gas and oil companies hate. The corporate billionaires hate. So thus the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints hates. No, they love me. Yeah, They promised you Trump or promised you Jesus and gave you Trump. Yeah, they love you, don't they? You got suckered and losered. You all fell for it, and you're still staying in the church, aren't you? You're still going to church today, aren't you? That's going to be an awesome little picture scene. Jesus Trump, his life, his ministry during the Roman period time, and in the Book of Mormon. Can't wait to get started. I'm going to finish early. Screw this video. And so, Joseph Smith, in 19 July 1840, tells us that Zion will be the mountain cities of Zion and New Jerusalem. And in order to be a mountain, you kind of need to make a city patterned after a mountain. I chose a pyramid with ziggurats, levels, all going up. I've told you this before. But we first have to get there. The fall of this church, for, being righteous. Righteousness has to fall. It's just the consequences. It's not wickedness that falls. You're just changing definitions, Travis. And so the capstone is the house of the Jewish Christ that comes after Joseph Smith Jr., the other Jewish Christ, which you already know all this stuff. You don't need me to explain it in a couple-hour video for you. You're bored. You're waiting to hear the truth of Trump Jesus speaking at the pulpit of the White House. He will rule from Jerusalem as Nelson rules from Zion. That's the Isaiah one. We'll come back to this one. I never said I was going to it, so you don't know. Come on, it should be here. Mountains of the Lord's house, established on the top of the mountains. The mountain of the Lord, the house of God, judge. Day of the Lord of hosts shall be upon every one that is proud and lofty, upon every one that is lifted up. He shall be brought low, cedars of Lebanon, ships of Tarshish, pleasant porn, idols. It's here, isn't it? Am I missing it? You're making me look it up? Seriously? Well, it was right there. I just didn't say it. Verse 3, Isaiah chapter 2. And many people shall go and say, Come, ye, and let us go up to the mountain of the Lord, to the house of God of Jacob. Let God prevail, and he will teach us of his ways. We will walk in his paths, for out of Zion shall go forth the law, and the word of the Lord from Jerusalem. And so Zion is here in Salt Lake City, Temple Square. That's where the law goes forth. And then the word of Jesus Trump from Washington, D.C.'s White House. There you go. This is now being revised in all the manuals and in the scriptures. You will see TGs, even though they use Guide to the Scriptures now for the other languages. They just didn't want to shame Ballard for all the boo-boos he made in the original version. That's why they were waiting to do a revision in English. Nelson just doesn't care about scriptures anymore, so he doesn't want to bother with it. It was all Monson's thing. With Hinckley. I've got extra knowledge and you have no idea what's true and what's not, because you're joking, Travis. We don't know if you're joking. We don't know. We can't trust you. Even though you've been right about everything this whole latter days, now it's over. You're going to be wrong for the final stuff, Travis. You just watch. You're going to be wrong. You've been right about everything, but not about the end. You're wrong. So, Joseph Smith gives a prophecy in section 85 in a letter to W. W. Phelps. This was not meant to be published to the general populace. Brigham Young realized, hey, I cooed Joseph's church and got away with it. I think it's time to show Mormons that I'm verse 7. And that Joseph Smith was verse 8. So he put it in. And he mingled it with his own creations, framing and blaming Joseph for them. And so, set in order the house of God. That's the capstone of the temple. That's the penthouse suite, which is the penthouse downtown in Salt Lake, right across from Temple Square. That's the apartment that he stays if he doesn't drive home for the day or for the weekend or whatever. If he needs to be close to Temple Square in the office, he has the apartment there. Across the way, it's the penthouse suite. I was helping a guy who pretended to be my friend and had lied and deceived me. I was helping him move into that apartment with his new wife. And we saw Monson driving home. It's a big black Cadillac. I don't know what type of car it was. So, you know, yippee-ki-yay. But talking about setting in order the house of God, you see Joseph also talking about arranging by lot the inheritances of the saints. And thus, if it's supposed to be mountain cities, the lots are within the mountain city. It's already here. Already. Remember the whole Hinckley dream, which was Joseph of Egypt? That's me. Oh no. Trump is Jesus, Travis. Trump is Jesus. We don't believe you. Even though you've got the keys of Moses, and you've got the gifts of prophet, seer, revelator, and even translator. It's Trump. Oh my God. Got so many picture ideas. Temple, Nelson, DC, Trump, Isaiah 2. I'm going to spend the rest of my day doing video or pictures, and then you'll get the video later on next Thursday. And so, who gets to go? Well, the righteous, those who choose. Nobody's going to be forced. You know, the church is supposed to fall. There's supposed to be an exodus. You know your scriptures, right? You don't need me to tell you this. Again. Fine. Section 103, verse 16. Therefore, for the redemption of Zion, in verse 15, 16 says, I will raise up. Hey, that's plagiarism from Deuteronomy 18:15. The man like Moses, the Jewish Christ, Messiah ben David, who comes after Messiah ben Joseph, who's Joseph Smith. Unto Mormons, not the Jews, a man who shall lead them like as Moses. There's the Exodus. To Zion. So now you go back to section 60 or 85. He's the one mighty and strong. This is when we get to Zion. The fall of the church, holding you in bondage, verse 17. You are freed from your bondage, and those who choose to go, not enslaved to go. He won't be a convicted rapist or convicted felon. Nope. Yeah, he was in jail without ever being tried, convicted, sentenced, didn't even have a hearing. He was just indefinitely incarcerated for his First Amendment rights, which they called a terroristic threat, and his petition for redress of grievances they called a weapon of mass destruction, because it exposed the church as false, not translators. Right, Mark Shurtleff? And so this is how you're supposed to do this, and they're supposed to be footnoting these things correctly, and they're not. And so, yes, you do need to put them in a chain link. David Gaunt recommended this, that we design the footnotes so that you learn with a chain link through the footnotes. He thought that that would be cool, except that if we would let him do it, he'd have Sodom and Gomorrah lead right to homosexuality. And Deuteronomy for Jesus. It's Jesus. Sorry, David, it's Trump. We were both wrong. It's Trump. Hilarious. It's when I was doing the revision of the footnotes. I was given Deuteronomy. I worked on it. I did it. I put it in there, linked it to section 103, section 107, verse 91. Because that's what we're supposed to do. And so, when the supervisor revised the system to have two main committees overview all of the work and having the rest of them split up into committees to finish the Bible, our group of four, because I was that good and was put on the top committee, we would get Tuesday nights the papers to review that have been done. And so this one particular Tuesday night, David comes in after getting the assignment for us to work on that evening, and it was my work from Deuteronomy. And he comes in, and the first thing he says, it's Jesus. I didn't put my own information. I quoted or put scriptures in. I put scriptures in. I followed their orders to us. It was David who put his own things in there. Because with the homosexuality of Sodom and Gomorrah, no. We're not supposed to put in our own opinions. We're not supposed to put TG homosexuality. Or in this case, Guide to the Scriptures homosexuality. We are supposed to put only scriptures. And if and only if a president of the church has said something, we need to put a note with the reference to that conference talk by a president of the church. They didn't really want us to do apostles' quotes, but, it's first priority, Scripture, then presidents of the church. Because the president of the church is kind of difficult to put in a footnote. So that's the justification for putting in a guide to the Scriptures, is that a president of the church has already said that. And so it would be on the notes, but not in the footnotes. There's all these rules we had to follow, and David Gaunt didn't want to follow it for homosexuality of Sodom and Gomorrah, because it's Ezekiel 7:16. The sins of Sodom was neglecting the poor. That's why they were destroyed. Very clear, simple footnoting to do. Didn't want to do it. When Jesus, Trump, tells Peter, "Upon this rock I will build my church." And you see in the footnotes the Greek, and John is the only one who has Cephas, which is stone, rock, and seer, referring to Joseph Smith translation. And so I wanted to put in Egyptian. Peter is seer in Egyptian. They didn't want that, so it didn't get put in. But to Joseph Smith translation, sure, they kept in for John. But nonetheless, I didn't get John to do. I only had Matthew. Anyway, okay? And so, section 103, verse 16 and 17, Mormons have to be freed from bondage of the great and abominable church, which requires the great and abominable church to fall. Then you have to know that it's me, by my fruits, that I am the man like Moses, that I am the prophet, the seer, the revelator, the translator, so that we can then go to Zion for those who choose. If you're a layman and Lemuel, you don't go. Don't even think about trying to sneak in. I know how to identify you. Don't think you're going to fool me. I have had Russians come onto my YouTube channel thinking they're going to fool me as if they're Mormon, and then they say something, and then I go, yeah, you're not a Mormon. And your linguistic sentence structure indicates you're Russian with English as a second language. You should have stayed in Russia to learn the language first before coming to America. You know about that? Yeah, we found that Russia had built cities designed after American cities, and had Russians get born and raised in those cities to learn how to be Americans so that they can then be sent to America as sleeper cell agents, which was during the 80s when they got exposed. And they're still here. They've still been doing it. Now, we're all doomed. So anyway. So yeah, I know how to identify you. I know the scriptures. You're not going to fool me with Trump. Have you not caught on? I know who I am. You can't lie to me and think that you're going to fool me. But you always get those dumbasses who think they're smarter, and then they get humiliated, and then they go away in shame, angry, because they didn't fool me. I can't wait to go back to my motherland. It's your fatherland, isn't it? See, authoritarians call the land a male. It's your more liberal countries, communist countries, that call it female. So yeah, the Egyptians had the soil as male, and the skies, heavens, as female. Skies were actually male. The moisture was female. But then you got to understand the difference, because they also had the terminology when you're talking about land in text. It was given the female ending rather than the male ending, even though Geb was male for earth. And even the Jews, they have Adam as intended to mean soil, but when they're talking about soil rather than Adam, they add the feminine singular at the end of it, so that it can be identified as land. But again, it's just quit making it complicated. Paleo-Hebrew is very simple. Nonetheless, and so once we get to Zion, boom, section 85 now kicks in. And section 85 is setting the house of God in order. And it's just building the city. You now are joint heirs with Christ. You yourselves take upon you the name of Christ. You are Christ's. Because this ain't Christian, it's Jewish. And so you get a lot within the city for your family. And the woman gets to choose how many babies she wants. And if she only wants one, baby will be cute. But it'll be so sad because she doesn't have more cute babies. But women are different, their bodies are different, and they can only handle so much. Others can have more. But that's okay. It's your choice. There will be no judging. There will be no taking away of agency and putting Mormon women into bondage, being forced to be breeders. And it's set up so that if women want to be a mother but also want an education, want to do something to help contribute to the storehouses of Zion, yeah, great. You're free to do whatever you want. You just contribute. And if you are in a position where you can't contribute, you're not expected to contribute. Children, for example, no child labor, what the hell? But children do need to learn how to live. And so, yeah, you got to teach them. You got to teach them how to make books, teach them how to build buildings and make food and grow food and make clothing and all the stuff that we have in life. They have to be taught, but you don't force them into slave labor like the church does in the Philippine sweatshops for making underwear. See, one day, kids, you'll be wearing this underwear that you are sewing for the American Mormons. Yeah, it's sad that the air conditioning doesn't work here in the Philippines. So sad. But be faithful. Trump is about to be elected. The Marcos family has a long history with Trump. Oh my God, we're all dead. And so yes, we need Zion in order to be protected. So thus we get to section 80 or 45. And and it shall be called Zion and New Jerusalem, a land of peace, city of refuge, a place of safety for the saints of the Most High. sun god of noonday, Amen, of the Egyptians. His last name is sun god. Good is God. Sel is soul, for solar, soleil, sun. Sun god. Everything is fulfilled, guys. Everything is fulfilled. All the prophecies about me have happened. I didn't force it. I didn't say, Mom, you need to have me right now. You need to conceive. I know you'd hate my dad, but you gotta marry him. It's gotta be the Los Angeles temple. You can't do it here in Salt Lake. That's me for my second failed marriage. I can't do that. There are just some prophecies I cannot fix and force. You know, like they did for Trump. Unbelievable. A corrupt and wicked man, convicted felon, convicted rapist, convicted insurrectionist. That's what the felony was. Rigging the election with the catch and kill. That he's, I mean, seriously, everybody, oh my God. And so, among the wicked, you have to fight for your survival. Because it's survival of the fittest. This is what Trump's presidency will lead to. Do you believe it? You sure? The consequences won't follow. Sure, the prophecies of Joseph, your founder, will not happen. The prophecies of the Book of Mormon ain't gonna happen. Nope. Consequences, nope, we don't need them. We do whatever we want, and it's good and true and righteous. You have judged us, Travis. You're a visionary man. Then stay here. You're not forced to go to Zion. And so you have to flee to Zion for safety once it all hits the fan. And it's already hit the fan. Text messages went out to blacks telling them they are now to be assigned to pick cotton. This is what's coming. This is what's coming. I told you, those at the top, it was shocking how perfect AI worked to get a convicted felon into the presidency. A criminal who's gotten away with his crimes his whole life into the presidency. A convicted rapist, and all women voted for him. The most popular president ever, who previously had empty seats, empty rally attendance, as he altered the inauguration photo. With his Sharpie, putting in people. And yet, he's popular. This was the biggest con pulled off in America. And Oak said, it's us. It's the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. We did it. We did it. Let God prevail. We rigged it all. Suckers and losers all. Oh my God. And Mormons stay Mormon. So, among the wicked, they don't want to go to Zion. There's no monetary system of economy. Oh my God. How are you going to pay for things? You don't pay for things. Wicked people use economy because it creates a class division between the rich and the poor. That's why all monetary systems of economy, like the Book of Mormon says, will bring utter destruction. It brings suffering. It brings inequality. And so even though the Constitution says that Congress is in charge of the monetary system, they can have it designed the way they want it. It's Congress the one who chose our economy. They are to blame for the consequences of all the wrongs caused by our economy. The pollution by the gas and oil companies, big pharma, Congress is responsible for all that. Social media not being regulated. AI telling children to kill themselves. YouTube banning women for being women. All of this is due to the government failing to regulate the economy as the Constitution designates them to do so. They've purposely chosen to allow companies to reign supreme over the people. And so they produce inferior products, DVDs that have inferiorities, and you have trying to force you to pay more money for the Blu-ray or the 4K or the 8K. What the hell? Because then we have to buy a new device to watch them on. They're all trying to con you out of your money. Abusing women, saying you're ugly women, wear our makeup and it'll look natural. And so of course the song is flowing through my head. I love you just the way you are. Don't go trying to change me. I don't know the lyrics to this song either. Haven't heard it in a long, long time. But I know the beat and tone, and that's what's sinful. I love you just the way you are. You do know that, right? Dear God. As a teenager, I'm hammered by Benson. Beat and tone. From Spencer W. Kimball's Miracle of Forgiveness. Beat and tone. From President Packer, who was an elder. Beat and tone. At conference. It's idol worship. There's no evil in beat and tone. It's the lyrics. Those are precepts. You need to test the precepts to find out if they're good or bad, because the consequences will follow. And so they don't want to mix with righteous. Wicked people can't stand them. That's what it says in verse 70. So they name call us terrible. We can't stand them. So yeah, we gotta get to Zion. So this is it. And so yeah, there will be designations, there will be command center at Zion, assuming that everything works out according to plan. It takes time for the fall and the transition, and then the setting up for those who can come to Zion immediately, because the rest of the world will have to wait until the bloodbath here in the United States under Trump. And so, until it happens, I know what needs to happen, but it's like, that the church is talking about a transfer of authority, and so I was saying Trump was going to give it to Nelson, or Biden is supposed to give it to Nelson, or Cox is going to give it to Nelson, and so now that we know, it's Trump. But wait a minute, it's the two places. But Nelson revealed that it's Jerusalem and not New Jerusalem and Zion here in Utah, or Yeah. The New Jerusalem is in America, but Zion is also in America, and he says that there's also the Jerusalem that's going to be rebuilt and run by Jesus, which we now know as Trump. See, the wicked have a twisted interpretation of scriptures because they're not using the learning of the Jews. And so they're the ones who are unstable as to how it's going to end up. But yeah, ideally there would be a command center when the bishops bring those who want to come to Zion. That's what I'd set it up for. It's already set in place. No judgment. Ex-foes, you can go to the bishop. He's not going to judge you. You know, if you don't have a membership record, you know, that's okay. You can be a Nevermo and come to Zion too. You just have to follow the rules. You can't have an underground economy. That will destroy Zion. You can't do crime in Zion. You can't take away agency of others in Zion. You get your own lot to live. You get to live the way you want to live, and all it has to do is be righteous, which is love. Leave other people alone. Let them live their lives. It will be set up so that each lot is soundproof. Nobody's going to hear you screaming or hear other people screaming. And it will be self-sufficient, self-sustaining, not self-reliant. It is interdependent. You have to produce goods for the storehouses, just as everyone else does, unless you're elderly or children or physically disabled. Those are the excuses. They are the exemptions. We will take care of them. We're not going to say, well, they need to work too. No, you don't care about what other people are doing. Worry about yourself. Contribute to Zion. Build Zion. And then you get whatever you need and whatever you want to give back to Zion. So if you want to do clothes, great. We will give you what you need to make clothes. And there's no need to worry about monetary system of economy, so there's no need to worry about robotic automation taking your job. The robots are taking our jobs. Oh, there's no worry about that. We need to get supplies built quick to fill the storehouses. And so, yes, we are going to use robotic automation, not AI. God. These systems were perfect in the beginning. And with algorithms and AI especially, they don't function anymore. And they say, oh, it's all better now. Everything's better. No, it's not. Don't gaslight me on how it's not working. Dear God. So no, none of this crap that destroys productivity and such. So yeah, it's real simple. Eventually the storehouses will be supplied, and as the system is self-sustaining, self-reliant, people then are able to go and do other things. See, once the basic needs are taken care of, food, clothing, shelter, communication, transportation, sex, that's a basic need. Then we can then work on the beautification. We can get the artists going, all the different kinds of arts, music. So that would be the ideal. And so that the whole system would be set up for an education. You want to learn something? Great, learn it. It's available for you to learn. And then we set up after my 7th grade English grammar teacher, masturbator. That was his name. His name. He had to tell us at the beginning of class, first day of class, when he told us his name was masturbator, and he had to explain to us, because it's English grammar, misters are those who are married, masters are those who are not married. You know, like a miss is not married, Mrs. is married, Ms. is the was but doesn't want to be identified, and just chaos and confusion ensues. Fine, have your pronoun. But and so he's not married, and so he is properly master. And even though our English abbreviates it to Mr., it's to be understood as not abbreviatable. That was part of the thing. But he tested us in a system of we learn at our pace. And when we learn the material, we then take a test. And if we pass, we go on to the next level. If we don't pass, then we go back and study the material again. We learn and develop at our level. If the whole system of education were based on this, we'd have a lot different results than what we are currently doing as to what do we do with a kid who's dumb. We hold them back, put them into summer school. No, none of that is needed. And with our modern technology of gaming and internet interaction with media and such, children can be taught in other ways than a human being. But teachers need to get paid. So, and thus chaos and confusion results with a monetary system of economy. You got coal miners here in Utah who are under attack by the activists saying that coal kills humans because it's a pollutant. Well, yeah. And it's hard labor work going into the mine and mining, as they have to have canaries to make sure that they don't die. And then you got the mine collapses that happen with the one guy who came to Utah too, with mine collapses. And towns are built based on the mining. And so when you get these alternative energies that are better and more efficient, the coal miners complain, what are we going to do for work? You're taking away our jobs. The whole town will be a ghost town. Well, yeah, get another job. But that's all they know. And that's where the problem comes in with our monetary system of economy. It collapses itself when innovation and new technologies emerge. It makes previous technologies obsolete. And so we no longer have, well, records are coming back, but VHS tapes. You'll only find them at Gray Whale now. You'll find cassette tapes, and they sell cassette tape players there, as well as record players. There's a great demand for records here in Utah, so they've got a big old supply of records. But anyway, old technologies are supposed to go extinct when you improve quality, and the computers, they're going the wrong way. We need to go back. Make computers great again. So says Trump Jesus. whole thing would be different in Zion. So just understand. Just understand. So yeah, the command center, I'm not putting this in any order, am I? It's because of my associative memory. Something comes to mind, it's not on paper. I'm just talking with you. This isn't an official talk or anything. It's informal. One man speaketh to another. And so yeah, the command center will be there. We'll have bios of everyone who's coming to Zion so that we'll know where to get you set up to get things built. There has to be some kind of an order. We can't just have everybody show up in Zion and go, who's the construction workers? I had Legos as a kid. Hey, Frederick. We will have Legos galore. Yeah. So, yeah, we just got to get there. But that scriptures lay it out for you. You just had to put them in order because the church didn't want you to know the order. So, alrighty, we're done. Over in 17 minutes. Huh?